Have you ever found it weird how the Enderman and the Endermite will fight each other? I mean, the Enderman will literally not attack anything unless attacked, except for the Endermite for some reason. Isn't that a little odd? Because of this weird interaction, I decided to go through every single mob in Minecraft and see which mobs they are racist towards or favor, because there are some mobs that will attack everything, except for a very small group of mobs. However, before we move on, I should mention that this tier list is kind of a speciesism tier list, and not a racism tier list, but I ended up calling it the racism tier list because number one, I've done that before, but also because there is a couple interactions in the game that actually have to do a little bit with color and all that. I'm mostly talking about our mob in the number one spot, so stick around to find out what I would consider the only potentially color-driven interaction in the game, but also to find out what mobs hate other mobs, and to find out what mobs will kill everything, with the exception of a few. Starting off our tier list is the anti-racist mobs. And the mob that I believe is the least racist out of them all, or least speciesist if you want to call it that, is the mule, which speaking of, I'm going to also put the horse and the donkey down, since I believe more or less they're in the same category. If you do not know, a mule is a combination of a horse and a donkey, so horses and donkeys are so anti-racist that they are willing to breed with other species in order to make a new one, also known as the mule. However, moving on is the sheep. The sheep can be dyed any color. They don't care what color they are. On top of that, you can even have a special sheep called Jeb, which is a rainbow sheep. Next up is a little bit of a surprising one, and that is the mushroom. If a mushroom is struck with lightning, it becomes a brown mushroom. Mushrooms and brown mushrooms are also able to breed, so we can prove that they are not racist as they will breed with other colors of themselves. Right now is probably a good time to mention that this video is for entertainment, and if you have any suggestions on what I should change or what I should do better, feel free to comment down below and tell me what you think about the tier list. However, the final one and anti-racist is the skeleton horse, which for some reason there's two of them, so we'll just put that guy down there. So the reason that the skeleton horse is anti-racist is because he allows skeletons and players to ride them. That's about it. He also has no racist qualities that I can find. So it is now time to move on to the not racist tier. These are mobs that will not attack other mobs, they don't prefer other mobs, so they're just plain not racist. First up, we got the pufferfish. When anything goes near the pufferfish, it will puff up no matter who you are or what you are, so he is so scared of anything that he treats everyone equally and will just puff up no matter what you are. This is kind of the same with the warden. Since the warden cannot see, he cannot tell what race you are or what species you are, so he kills you no matter what. Yay, murder equality! Now it is time for the long line of boring, not racist animals. The bees are just bees. They will only attack the player if they get attacked. Also, according to my research, bees will also attack other mobs, so if they are hurt, they will attack the mob no matter who they are. Next up is the glow squid. They're just not racist. This is the same with the squid, camel, bat, panda, doodle, the sniff daddy, the pig, although I'm gonna put an asterisk next to that one, the funny red cube, the cow, the chimpkin, although again, for some reason there's two chimpkins, and then the Allay. I would say for the most part that these animals don't have anything special about them, they're just not racist. Except the Allay will only follow the player, so it's not racist, but I'm gonna put it above everything else just for that small reason. However, now that I'm thinking about it, the strider actually lets other mobs ride it than just the player, so I'm just gonna actually move it down here. The funny red cube is now anti-racist, let's go. However, a pig, when it's struck with lightning, will become a zombified piglin. So because of that small chance of happening, I decided to put it higher up in the not racist tier. Although truly it doesn't matter because we're talking about the pig and not the zombified piglin. But if the pig somehow became a zombified piglin, it would be higher up in the list. Because I'll tell you right now, the zombified piglin will attack people, but it will not attack other people, so we'll get to that when we get to that. With that being said, next up is the parrot. The parrot's not racist. It's just more the fact that he only can imitate hostile and I think neutral mobs, also known as he won't imitate passive mobs. Although next up is the rabbit. So the rabbit overall is not racist. However, it does have different running distances depending on what species you are. With wolves, since wolves will attack rabbits, rabbits will preemptively run away faster. However, that's just a self-defense mechanism not to die, so can't really call a rabbit racist because of that. Next up is going to be the fishes, the cod, salmon, and tropical fish. So these fish are not racist. However, they only travel in packs of themselves, which doesn't mean anything. Like I said, other animals will not travel in packs except for baby animals. They will spawn together though. However, I put the fish higher just because it said they spawn together and then stay together. Again, no proof of racism. Honestly, I just found it funny calling fish racist. And finally is the dolphin. Dolphins are not racist. However, if you hit one dolphin, all the other dolphins will attack you. So they prefer their own species when they get attacked. So that's why they're at the top of not racist, because they're not racist, but they will protect each other. Again, it's a bit hard to order not racist animals. So I tried my best to put them in an order, but again, I should have mentioned earlier that if they're in the same tier, they're about in the same place. So I think that a dolphin is just as not racist as a tropical fish. But I absolutely tried my best to order them, and I'll be honest, there's no way to order not racist animals. So let's just move on to probably not racist. Most of the animals or mobs in this tier might have the tendency to attack something, but it has a reasonable explanation for it. As an example, villagers and wandering traders. These guys do not attack anything, but they will run away from natural predators like zombies. The only exception to this is zombified piglins. Zombified piglins will not attack villagers, but the villagers will still run away from them. However, you could logically explain that the villagers or traders are just scared of zombies, they're just protecting themselves, so they're running away. Next up, believe it or not, is the tadpole. So the tadpole on its own has no racist tendencies. However, the tadpole is an extension of the frog. And I'll just tell you now, the frog is a little racist. I can't believe I just said that. So since the tadpole will grow up to be a racist frog, or at least I'll try and explain to you why I think the frog is kind of racist, or speciesist, I'm gonna put it in probably not racist because it's not racist, but when it grows up, it will be. I didn't really know where to put it. So it's here, it's probably not racist, it's just a funny tadpole. Next up is the shulker. The shulker will only attack players. So does that mean that the shulker is racist against players? Well, let's think about that for a moment. Players, when they go to the end, are probably an invasive species. That means the shulker is probably just defending itself from anyone it sees as a threat, which is the player. So I think the shulkers have a good reason to shoot at you. On top of that, if a shulker shoots another shulker, they will get mad and attack each other. This means that they don't exactly prefer each other. They are willing to attack each other, so to me at least it shows a little bit of equality. So I think shulkers are probably not racist, because even though they do target players, it feels pretty reasonable, and they also punish each other for when they attack each other. As for the next 4 mobs, I'm going to be actually using the same logic. The Ender Dragon, the Ghast, the Blaze, and the Creeper. I'll put an asterisk on the Creeper though. I'll also put the Phantom up here just to explain in a second. So the Ender Dragon, Ghast, and Blaze, according to the wikis at least, will only attack players. On top of that, the Ender Dragon, Ghast, and Blaze are just attacking you because you are invading their realm. It feels pretty reasonable, it could be targeted towards you, but they are probably not racist. For the Creeper, they have the exact same logic, except they are in the overworld, and they don't have to target you, but they end up doing it anyways. So do they see you as a threat? Do they hate you so much that they're willing to blow up? Maybe. So that's why they're not in the not racist tier. And actually after I said that, I feel like I should move them up a little bit, but I'll commit to this placement for now, because the Creeper will only go after you, unless of course it gets shot, which in that case it will fight back, but I do not count that as racist. Or else I would have to move something like the Dolphin up, which I'm not going to, because I don't believe the self-defense is racist, it's just them self-defending themselves. So after that long explanation, I think the Creeper is probably not racist, it's just going after you because it sees you as the threat. On top of that, they are scared of cats, which I forgot to mention. However, I think being scared of something doesn't make you racist necessarily. For example, I'm scared of spiders, but I wouldn't say I'm racist towards spiders. Okay, maybe in spiders particularly, I hate spiders. Maybe that was a bad example. Anyways, point of what I'm trying to say is just because you're scared of it doesn't mean you're racist towards it. Or in this case, speciesist. As for the Phantom, it's the exact same logic. However, the final thing in the probably not racist tier is the Hoglin. Just like the other mobs, the Hoglin will only attack the player. However, if the Hoglin goes to the overworld, it will become a Zoglin. And Zoglins attack a lot of stuff, while not attacking others. So we'll get to Zoglins when we get to them. So now that we're done with the probably not racist tier, we're moving on to the might be racist tier, where they might be racist. There might be motives that are unexplained. or they have a few more things they don't like, so maybe there's something about it that they don't like. So in this tier, maybe they just don't like a certain mob for some reason. It could be justified, it could not be justified. First up is the zombified piglin. When I was talking about the pig, I said I would get to this one. I do not know why, but for some reason zombified piglins will go after turtle eggs. Now, is this enough evidence to say that the zombified piglin is confirmed racist? I'm not really sure about that, because it's just funny eggs. They're fun to step on, I'm sure. So we can't be sure about that. Honestly, we can't be sure about most of the things on this list, but we're gonna go with it like we can. However, since they don't go after turtles that are fully grown, I decided to put them lower down. They just might be baby killers. Sounds really bad, but not racist. Next up is the llama and wandering trader llama. Llamas for the most part are pretty chill. They will only attack things that attack them, except for some reason they will spit at wolves. This is a pretty clear example of racism. However, there is something holding it back that I decided not to put them as high, and that's because they will breed with each other of different colors. Llamas do not care what color of llama they're breeding with, so I decided to put them a little bit down. However, now that I'm thinking about it, going after the wolves in particular, kind of racist. I'm gonna actually move the llamas up just a little bit. The whole point of this list is if a mob attacks a mob out of nowhere for no reason, they should be higher up on the list. So I don't know why I had the llamas this low originally. It is kind of messed up that they just spit at wolves and only wolves in particular. So I decided to move them up a little bit. So with that mistake, I should mention again, if I do make a mistake, feel free to correct me in the comments. And my headset just died. This is just like the last video. Moving on to the goat. If you do not know, goats will randomly ram into a mob that is close to it, including yourself. However, it will not attack every mob. The only mobs that it will not attack is itself and ghast. So goats and ghast do not get attacked by goats. And that is why I put it in might be racist, because it likes ghast and ghosts better than everything else, to the point of where it won't attack it, which the ghast part is probably because they're a flying marshmallow, and so the goats can't exactly dive it, but as I will get to later, iron golems will attack ghast, even though the ghast is flying. So I don't know why the goat praises the giant marshmallow thing, but it also prefers not to attack itself. Is it racist? I would say probably not, but it's in the might be racist tier. So it might be racist, it might not be. But let's move on before I think too hardly about whether goats are racist. The next few mobs that I will be placing are going to be mobs that will attack players and iron golems. So we got the magma cube, the green cube, the spider but smaller, and then I'll put the silverfish down, but there's a reason that the silverfish is above it. Magma cubes, slimes, cave spiders, and spiders will attack players and iron golems. I do think that players are threats. I kind of think iron golems are threats, as the iron golem will seek out and attack these mobs. However, the reverse happens also. So just because one group is being quote-unquote racist towards another, that does not justify racism back. So that's why I put them in the might be racist tier. They could also be attacking because they're defending themselves, but at the same time, why not just run away? The silverfish is in the same boat as these four. However, they will for some reason also attack snow golems, which is really weird. This is according to the wiki though, so feel free to correct me if that is wrong. So the silverfish will attack 3 things, although those 3 things are kind of hostile or will attack you maybe. So that's why it's in the might be racist tier. However, one that's very interesting is the witch. The witch will only attack players. However, if the witch is a part of a raid, then it will attack villagers and traders and all that. So that means that the witch is not racist, or at least probably not racist, unless it's in a raid, which is kind of weird, so I didn't know where to put the witch. So the logic that I used was, since it only attacks players, I will put it in the same line as the creeper, blaze, and gas and all that, but then I will move it up 1 tier, since it will attack villagers and all that during a raid. However, normally they don't, so I'm unsure if that's racist or not. So that's why it's in the might be racist, and is actually why I called it the might be racist tier. However, with that placement, we are now moving on to the most likely racist. Most of these are animals and mobs that will attack something, but you could maybe justify it, but it is a little bit odd how they will attack them. So the one that I was going to put at the bottom of most likely racist was the frog, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to actually put it a lot lower, because after thinking about it, I think my logic was a little bit stupid. So the frog will attack slimes and magma cubes. Now that would be pretty racist if the frog was just targeting slimes and magma cubes for the fun of it, However, it seems like the frogs are only eating them and only targeting them because that's the food they eat. If a frog eats a magma cube though, it pops out a shroom light, which will question whether the frog is just eating them to eat them, or whether it's eating them to actually get food. So I moved it down to the bottom of might be racist, simply because it might just be eating them for fun. But that doesn't mean they're racist towards it, that just means they like eating slimes and magma cubes. Next up, however, is the cat, which I never thought I would be saying that cats are racist. Cats will breed with other colors, cool. However, they will also attack rabbits and baby turtles. So just like the zombified piglin, they will unnecessarily attack baby turtles. I've never seen a cat eat a baby turtle, but at the same time, who knows? The cat will also flee from players, and it will be scared of creepers and hiss at phantoms. So the first thing I should mention is that the cat will attack baby turtles, so it's going to be around what the zombified piglin is, which is one tier below it. But on top of that, it will purposely scare creepers and it will purposely scare phantoms. So because of that reason, I decided to put it one tier higher than the zombified piglin, because the zombified piglin, if you don't remember, will attack baby turtles. So since I think the cat is a little bit more racist than the zombified piglin, that is why it's one tier ahead. Which, like I said earlier, I want to keep the tiers somewhat close, so the bottom of the tier is close to the top of the tier in terms of racism. So that is why the cat is in the most likely racist tier. At least with the rabbit, you could justify that the cat wants to eat it. But with baby turtles, it's a little less easy to explain. They're just funny turtles, man. However, I guess you could justify that cats might eat them. However, can you justify them hissing at phantoms and creepers, even when they're untamed? I'm not sure about that. Again, don't take this video too seriously. I'm really grabbing at straws for some of these, though there is a lot of evidence towards the cat being somewhat racist, at least in the terms of our tier list. Next up is the fox. First up, foxes will breed with themselves. That's cool. However, foxes will flee from wolves and polar bears and players, probably because they want to kill them. However, it will attack chickens, rabbits, cod, salmon, tropical fish, and baby turtles. Just like the cat, you can probably justify the attacking of chickens, rabbits, cod, salmon, and tropical fish with they're just hungry little boys. I am going to move the fox a little bit under the cat, because even though the fox attacks more stuff, it probably eats most of that stuff, and the only thing that really sticks out is the attacking of baby turtles, so I really like this placement. I am even willing to move it down here because since foxes will only attack baby turtles and zombified piglins will only step on the eggs, so I think they're about equal. I'm gonna put it a little higher just in case he's racist against fish or something. I don't know, they do attack a lot of animals. Are they really that hungry, or are they just doing it for fun? Or because they're speciesist? They're probably just hungry boys. Next up is kind of a funny one, and that's the axolotl, which I'll put above the llamas actually. The axolotl will breed with other colors, pretty cool. However, they will attack all aquatic mobs except for turtles, dolphins, frogs, and other axolotls. This means that they will attack cod, elder guardians, glow squids, guardians, pufferfish, salmon, squid, tadpoles, and tropical fish. The reason that I put the axolotl here is because they are predators. They do attack stuff and do eat it, so they're just like the fox. So I'm gonna honestly, I'm gonna move it down a tier. I should say that I do change my mind a lot. I probably already said it like 5 times. But most of the things that they attack is reasonable, it's their food. But why attack the elder guardian? Why attack the guardian? There's almost no point, they're just attacking them for the fun of it. These guys are literally 3 times your size. Why, Mr. Pink Axolotl, are you attacking it? So I still think that they're a little bit bloodthirsty. They attack things that don't make perfect sense, so they might be racist towards something, and they're just attacking it for the fun of it. But they could also be attacking elder guardians and guardians because they're fish. So that's why I moved them down to might be racist rather than most likely racist. But that's why they're in might be racist in the first place, is because of how much they attack. I think you could even justify the axolotl being lower, but I'm going to leave it here because it's kind of funny to have the axolotl might be racist. Tell me down below where you think the axolotl should be. Next up in the most likely racist is actually the polar bear. And in this case, I'm going to move it down again, because a lot of these I put in comparison to each other, and now that I'm changing them, I am moving them to each other. So the polar bear will occasionally attack the player, but the thing that got the polar bear up here in the first place is the fact that it attacks only foxes, which is kind of weird. So when I first saw that, I was like, whoa, that's a racist interaction, because it just targets them for no reason. But apparently I didn't have my brain cells on, because foxes are natural prey to polar bears. So honestly, you could argue that it goes lower, which I'm gonna actually do. I'll put it right about here, because these guys are all attacking the player for, either invading their home or, in creepers' case, kind of for no reason. They might just see us as a threat. Where the polar bear is just trying to get food, and in that case, I may as well move the frog and the fox and the pink thing down here. One that I doubt I'll be moving is the zoglin though. The zoglin will attack any mob in the game, except for creepers, ghasts, and other zoglins. If you remember, the goat will attack anything but ghasts and other goats. So since the zoglin will not attack ghasts and other zoglins, just like the goat, it should be in the same tier. However, since it also doesn't attack creepers, there might be something there. So I put it a little bit higher, as there's not really a complete logic to it on what they attack and what they don't attack. However, if we're using our brain cells, we can probably just say that, hey, they probably don't attack creepers because creepers explode. And it'd be a little weird if the zoglin came out of the nether and attacked a creeper and just an explosion happened. However, this tier list is based on in-game logic, and not on a Mojang developer saying, hey, we should probably just make the zoglin not attack creepers so creepers don't blow up on the zoglin. So since there's no in-lore explanation, it might be racism. And there's more than one of those, so I put it a little bit higher than just might be racism. After that, let's talk about the Guardian and Elder Guardian. Both of them attack the same thing. They will attack players, squids, glow squids, and axolotls. Now here's where a little bit of theory crafting could save these guys. So I might move them down to might be racist, honestly. Which I'm going to actually do because I'll tell you why. Again, sorry for changing the tier list so much, but I'd rather have it as accurate as I can over getting it right the first time. So at first I thought to myself, hey, it doesn't really make sense that they're targeting squids, especially because they're not intruders. So I put them up higher, but I gave them the benefit of the doubt to not put them in the racist tier because they are defending their land. Them attacking axolotls do make sense in a way because axolotls will try and eat them, and players are players, so it's reasonable that they attack us. However, the squid thing just felt unnecessary, so I'm like, hey, that seems a little bit speciesist, so I'll put it up here. However, now that I'm thinking about it, we don't know what Elder Guardians and Guardians eat, right? So unless if they're mechanical things, which might be a game theory like I said, they do need to eat something, and maybe they eat squid. So that's why I moved them down to might be racist. Because I can't really say they're most likely racist against squids when that might be their food source. But since we don't know, I decided to put it a little bit higher than like the axolotl or the ghast. Next up is the Iron Golem. The Iron Golem will attack all hostile mobs, except for creepers for some reason. Even mobs that do not pose a threat towards villagers will be attacked by the Iron Golem. But like I said, there's the exception of creepers. Does this mean that the Iron Golem prefers a creeper over any other hostile mob? Since Iron Golems will target monsters, even if they are not being aggressive, means that we should definitely question their motives. The same can be said for the Wither. The Wither will attack everything, but it will not attack other withers, ghasts, and undead mobs. This means the Wither favors undead mobs, and it also favors ghasts and itself. And just to add them in, I'm going to be putting the Snow Golem here too. Snow Golems will attack all monsters except for ghasts. So the reason that I put these three in most likely racist is because Iron Golems will attack hostile mobs except for creepers, which is a small break in their logic. You could maybe argue that the Iron Golem is just protecting itself. However, it does go after some mobs that wouldn't really be considered threats. So I do have to question their motives a little bit, especially since they do have some inconsistencies, like they prefer not attacking creepers. And yes, I know, probably a Mojang developer said it's probably a good idea not to have Iron Golems attack creepers. But for the purposes of this list, we can't really use the logic that a Mojang developer just said, hey, Iron Golems attacking creepers might cause problems. So for that reason, I'm going to put Iron Golems in most likely racist, due to them targeting a bunch of mobs, but not creepers. The Wither is the same thing. It attacks everything, but it prefers undead mobs, so that's probably racist. And Snow Golems will attack all monsters, so it's racist against monsters. However, it is now time for the final tier, the racist tier, and I feel like I'm going to adjust some of these, so stay with me. I'm going to first start with the animals just because I did change my logic a little bit as I was going. And if it's going to be hunting for food, I'll use the logic of that mob is just hunting for food. The first one I'm going to put is the Ocelot. The Ocelot will attack chickens, baby turtles, and they scare away creepers. Since the cat will hunt down chickens and baby turtles, it is targeting them unnecessarily. However, if I think about it, the Ocelot is probably just hunting for food. So I'm going to move it down a tier, but it is a little weird how it just targets chickens and baby turtles, and not more things. It will also hiss at creepers, so another weird thing. Next up is the wolf. Wolves will attack sheep, rabbits, foxes, baby turtles, and skeletons. If we assume that sheeps, rabbits, foxes, and baby turtles are its food source, then it's kind of unnecessary that they go for skeletons. I do know that a lot of dogs and wolves will chew on bones, so logically you can explain the wolf, but at the same time, it is targeting the skeletons, and even though it's common knowledge that dogs like to chew on bones, it could be racist. You never know. Again, don't take this video too seriously, I'm just having fun with it. Speaking of skeletons, let's put down the stray and the skeleton, as they do have the same nature. Skeletons will attack players, iron golems, and baby turtles. They also flee from wolves, and will attack itself if hit. Honestly, I could probably move the skeletons down a tier, but they do attack players and iron golems, so they would already be on the same tier as the spider. But then they also unnecessarily attack baby turtles. And I like baby turtles, so they're going in racist for being racist towards baby turtles. Next up is the Enderman, which I can confirm is racist. The reason I say this is because Endermen will attack Endermite, and we don't really know why that happens, so since they are targeting one type of species, I'm going to consider it racist. Next up is going to be a line of mobs, that is the Vex, the Ravager, the Vindicator, and the Pillager. Pillagers, Vexes, and Ravagers will attack players, villagers, traders, and iron golems. Since these mobs will target villagers and their defenders, it does feel a little bit racially motivated, and the Vindicator is the exact same way, except on Bedrock Edition, for some reason, they attack snow golems, so I don't know why that happens. After that, and I am going to put it a little bit lower, is the Endermite. The Endermite will attack players and iron golems, however the Endermite also randomly targets Endermen. Again, I'm not sure what the feud is between these two, but it seems racially motivated. Next up is actually quite sad, and that's the Piglin Brute, the Piglin, and the Wither Skeleton. The Piglin Brute will attack players, Wither Skeletons, and Withers, but they actually won't attack regular skeletons, which is a little weird. And Piglin Brutes will also join in on hunts that the Piglins start, but the Piglin Brutes themselves will not start it, while the Piglins will go after players, Wither Skeletons, and Withers. On top of that though, they will also hunt Hoglins, so that's why I put them above the Piglin Brute. On the flip side, Wither Skeletons will attack players, Snow Golems, Iron Golems, Baby Turtles, Piglins, and Piglin Brutes. They will also run away from wolves. So my best guess is that this is another feud between two mobs, or in this case I should say a feud between Withers and Wither Skeletons versus Piglins and Piglin Brutes. I don't know why they're racist towards each other, but they are. And just like the Illagers, I need to put the Zombie, Husk, Zombie Villager, and Drowned. For the most part, these four have the same AI, and they will attack players, baby turtles, villagers, traders, iron golems, snow golems, baby turtles, and turtle eggs. I said baby turtles twice, I don't know why. You can tell I really hate mobs that attack baby turtles when I say it twice. However, the zombies are basically Illagers, but worse, as they attack baby turtles. With that being said, we have made it to the final tier, and if we ignore the random chicken and skeleton horse, here I'll even put them next to their little buddies. There we go. And finally, in the most racist tier, the forces their agenda in-game tier, goes the Evoker. The Evoker is just as bad as the Vindicator, but they do one more thing. Evokers will turn blue sheep red. They will actually go out of their way to change the color of another mob. I do not think that there is a more racially motivated action than that. I mean, I guess besides just killing them, but that's what the other tiers are for. But I hope you guys enjoyed, like and subscribe, and like I said throughout the entire video, this is just a joke, I'm just having fun with it. But feel free to comment down below if you find anything that you would change, anything that I missed. If I was accidentally offensive, I wasn't trying to be. But as I said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and tell me down below what I should do next. I will be streaming at 12 PM Central Time on Twitch for the foreseeable future, and I'll see you all later.